What's going on? So in the previous video, we built this script that when you run, it generates regions following the track name and then amending a number on the end. And the reason why I like to do that is, when I'm rendering assets for a video game or for whatever, in the render window, I use the region wildcard and then render all project regions. So that creates a file following the region name and following the start and end positions of the region names. So that's the utility of this script. I use it pretty much every day at my job. So it's a good one, I think. So we're in a pretty good place. There's a few little additions that I might like to make to the script. Now, firstly, we want to account for the possibility that we have sort of a sub-mix track with the name, but then we've got these different tracks feeding into it. Maybe this one has EQ, this one has reverb, or whatever it might be, and we want to be able to render these clips, but following the parent track name. That's definitely something we want to be able to do in our script. So what we're going to do is we're going to get a reference track, get a reference to the track's parent track. It's a mouthful, if it's not already. If there is a parent track, use that instead of the track the item is on. Right. Right. So I think there's just get parent track. Yeah, there we go. Get parent track. Go. So you feed it a track and it gives you, you feed it a track and it gives you the parent track. Fantastic. All right. Parent track equals get parent track of this track. What we can do then is, because we have track referenced everywhere else, just one more place. Yeah, anyway, I'll follow that thought. Because we have track referenced further down, what we can do is we can overwrite the reference to this track with this reference. And what that means is then when we get the track name, we're now looking at this, because this is a reference to this. Okay. So let's give that a go. We'll highlight this one. This track's name is EQ, but the parent's track name is chair type B. So let's see what comes up. And it came up as chair type B, because it's not looking at this track, it's looking at the parent track. Now we're not quite done yet, because now we may have broken the functionality for type A. And there we go. You can see that there's an error. And the error is because there is no parent track. So this is nil. So what we can do is, we've done a similar thing in a previous script. We can check for the existence of this variable by just going if parent track. So if this is nil, then this is false. But if this is anything, then it's true. It's just checking the existence of the parent track. Okay, so now for this item here, we don't have a parent track, so this is nil. this will be false, so we don't do this line, and we continue on. And track is still this track. However, for this one down here, when we run this script, this will be a real reference. So when we do if parent track, this will be true. So then track becomes the reference to the parent track. So then when we're here, we're getting this track's name. So we're accounting for both situations there. So let's give this a go now. And there we go, chair type B, chair type A, and it works. Very good. All right, so the next thing that I want to do is I want to be able to give the user some more options. And we'll give them those options here. So these will be in the form of prompts. So prompt the user for an optional string at the start of the region name. In my script, I have a prompt the user for a string at the end, but I never do that one. It's there, but I always skip it. So maybe we won't do that one. Yeah. So prompt the user for optional string, and actually I think before that one, ask the user if they want to replace all spaces with underscores, because that's a really handy one. You know, maybe you've got this is chair type A, chair type A, but you want the region names to have underscores in them, which is common practice. So yeah, we can prompt the user for that. And then down here, when we're building our string name, we take all of this into account, right? That all stuff will be actioned down here. Okay. So we've done this before. You can get user inputs. Right. So we've got the ret val, and we've got the user input, what we call it, underscore, meaning like their response to the question about the underscore. So we give this message box a title. Remember this one, like a prompt comes up and it's has a space where you can type something. Replace, so type, no. I'll make it different to my script, because in my script it's type Y to replace underscores with, to replace spaces with underscores. Actually, no, let's do that, because otherwise it might be a little easy to muck up. Yeah, maybe this is the best way to go. So type Y to replace spaces with underscores. All right. I might put this on a different line though, like this. It's going to be a long function. So the number of inputs is 0. String captions. Ret val CSV. All right, maybe it's not as long as I thought it was. Let's just test that actually. Nope. Get user inputs. There we go. Sorry, that needed to be 1. So what is that? Number of inputs, of course. Yeah, you want 1 input. Yeah. Okay, cool. So type Y to replace spaces with underscores. So maybe we'll change that because it doesn't fit on the screen. So we'll say replace spaces with underscores, question mark. And this is type Y or N, right? Behind the script, of course. Yeah. Place spaces with underscores, type Y or N. Okay. Cool. So we need to keep track of what the answer is. Local replace space with underscore. We're going to initialize that as false. And then if user input is equal to Y, then we update this with a value of true. So it's a bit misleading. It says type Y or N, but in actuality, you know, regardless of whether you type N or you type anything, it's going to set it as no. So yeah, it says Y or N, but in actual fact, it's just Y or whatever else. But yeah, from a user point of view, that's fine. All right, so then we do another prompt. Optional string at the end of the region name. Optional string at end. Type here. Local optional string at end equals empty string. So we initialize it with a value of an empty string, because then if we don't use it, we're just inserting an empty string into the middle of other real strings, so it's actually not going to make a real difference. But if user input underscore, if it exists, then this will be user input underscore. There we go. So I think that's everything we need. Cool. So we're going to use these down here. So what we can do that initial build, and then we can do extra steps to keep refining it based on the options. If we chose to replace spaces with underscores, do it here. If we chose to, yeah, sure. If we chose, no, actually, sorry. That's not going to work because we want the string at the end to be before the number. So we're actually going to build that into it right now. Because remember, if they don't pick anything, it's just going to be an empty string. And if you amend an empty string into in between other strings, you don't actually notice a difference. And we're going to be nice and put an underscore in between as well. So that is going to happen regardless of whether they chose to do anything or not. But if they didn't choose to do anything, it won't actually make a real change. Hopefully that makes sense. All right, Cool. So now we check the status of this Boolean. So if this is true, then we replace. Now, to replace characters in a string with a different character, that's not a that isn't a Reaper function, that's a built-in Lua function. So it's oh geez. My internet. Is my internet down? No way. That's so annoying. Okay, well, I think I remember what it is anyway. I was going to show you how to look it up, but, you know, I guess I did show you how to look it up. You Google that, and you should find articles about it. Not to worry. So what we do is region name is string.gsub. Not sure what the G means, to be honest, but we substitute inside of region name. We're looking for space, and we're replacing it with this. And then we're assigning whatever is returned from this function back onto this. All right, let's give that a go. So this has spaces in it. So replace with underscores, yes. And no optional string at the end. And there we go. Actually, it added in an extra optional string at the end. Yep. So see, it added in an extra underscore. That's because we're amending this here. So that's not really going to work, is it? No, I think we do need to do this in multiple steps. So the first step will be maybe this much, right? So that's our first step. So it'll be track name and then an underscore. That's it for now. And then we'll do, yeah, so then we'll check if optional string is not equal to empty string, then region name equals region name concatenated with optional string at the end, right? And then as a final step, region name will be region name with that. So we're achieving the same thing, but in multiple steps now rather than one long big string. And we're updating region name each time and building upon it where appropriate. So I think that'll solve the issue that I just had. So replace space with underscore, optional string empty. Oh, it still did it. Dave, you're a damned fool. Damned fool. Why did that happen? Am I crazy? Yeah. What's going on there? This might be a good opportunity for you to pause the video, figure out what I did wrong before I do. You know, that's probably one of the ways that you learn this stuff better than most, is to troubleshoot your work, or in this case my work. But if you don't want to, if you want to watch me try and figure it out, that's okay. So what are we doing? Let's talk through what's happening. So we've got region name, track name underscore. Track name underscore. If we have, we're doing that. Otherwise, we're putting an extra underscore right here. So I think what we want to do is we don't want to do that one, but what we do want to do is we want to put an underscore here if we putting that optional string in there. Now I think we're good. There we go. Sort of holding my breath a bit there. I was going to start getting embarrassed if that didn't work that time. So that's good. Now let's test it with the optional string. So replace spaces with underscores. Maybe the optional string is temp. You know, maybe that's something that you want to do. And a temp 1. Or you could do like the date or something, you know. Whoops. We got the date in there. Awesome. All right. So let's get rid of that. Cool. And I think that's everything that I wanted to cover. We've got a few options here. And we've got all the functionality that we wanted. So let's do like a final test, highlighting all these because we've incorporated the parent track functionality. So let's go. Replace underscores with spaces. And just bear in mind that this track doesn't have spaces, so nothing will happen on that one. So that's fine. String at the end. Let's do our date again. And there we go. Yep. And then back to 1 for the new track name. Oh, it didn't highlight that one. Yep, cool. There we go. All right. So hopefully you found that useful. And I'll see you in the next one.